Welcome to Hocus Pocus Extravaganza. We are super excited that you joined us tonight. We are ready to do some amazing crafts with all of the Sanderson sisters. So let's start it off. If you can go to the next slide, Thackeray. All right, so let's meet the staff. So Miss Candace is Thackeray Binks. You will see her with the cat. She's gonna wave. She's got a cat on her head. I am Winnie. Karina is Sarah. And Miss Mary is Mary. Woo! All right, we're gonna start with the Girl Scout Promise. So I'm gonna ask Sister Sarah to do the Girl Scout Promise.
On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law.
All right, thank you. Next slide. And I'm going to ask Sister Mary to repeat the law.
I will do my best to be honest and fair, friendly and helpful, considerate and caring, courageous and strong, and responsible for what I say and do, and to respect myself and others, respect authority, use resources wisely, make the world a better place, and be a sister to every Girl Scout.
All right, thank you. And then the next slide, I am going to do the flag salute. So put your hand over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So now we're going to move on to our first craft. We are going to work on my lovely book. I need my book to do my spells. Okay. So girls, the first thing let's go over the supplies that you have. So you have a hardcover book. It has to be a hardcover book. You can get the fake snakes or little crawlies, whatever you want to put. I'm going to try to make it as a replica as possible to Hocus Pocus book, her spell book. And then I have my eyeball. I have my paintbrush. I'm using Mod Podge, but you can use glue, regular school glue, and paper towels. Okay. And then we also have our two different colors of brown. So we have a dark one and a light one. My gray paint for my snakes. Different sizes of paintbrushes. Okay. And then I have a hot glue gun and my glue sticks in the corner. So the first thing you're going to start with is you're going to rip off your paper towels or napkins, whatever you have. And you're going to start tearing them apart because I don't like straight edges because it's not going to look like it's actual skin. It's going to look like it's just part of the book. So you need to kind of look like it's got a layered effect. So start ripping up those pieces. You can make them as big as you want, as small as you want. Oh, and to help it dry faster, I actually have my hair dryer, only because it helps it dry, because otherwise you would have to wait for an hour for the glue or Mod Podge to dry, and then another hour for paint and stuff. So, and with Mod Podge, it dries really fast, so I'm gonna keep tearing off my paper towels. And I'm gonna do, and you can do just the front and the back and the side. I think I'm just gonna do the front tonight, and then I might finish it up later on the back. Okay, so I'm gonna start with that. So now what I'm gonna do is, my brush is kind of hard, the bristles, because I use this brush only for my Mod Podge. So I'm gonna get that ready. And then I'm gonna dip it in, and I'm gonna start covering my book all the way and the stuff stinks. I don't like the smell of it, but the end result is awesome. I've made about 3 different spell books for my Halloween decor, and it came out great. That's okay. I got the front part done. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a paper towel and start laying it down. Okay? The pieces, kind of like connecting a puzzle in a sense. Remember I said it's supposed to represent flesh, so the skin, so I'm doing different patches. Yes, it's a paper towel that I'm laying down. I see the questions. Yes, paper towel. I don't recommend that you use toilet paper because I think toilet paper, well, it depends on what kind of toilet paper. Paper towels are a little bit thicker, so. And then smaller pieces. So on this part right here, the bind, it's okay to have like the straight edge. It's fine because we're going to be covering it up. Some little pieces. And then since you're laying it on top, you see I have this flap right here. I'm going to just cover it with some more Mod Podge or cover it with glue. Okay, so that is my first layer. So put that off to the side. You get glue, wipe it off on your hand or wipe it off on a paper towel. Now I'm going to take the brush again and I'm going to cover up the edges. So it looks like it's all together. And make sure you have your hair dryer plugged in and ready because it's going to be the next step that you do so you can dry it faster. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait. And you won't be able to actually do the activity with this. And then when you have extra pieces right here, you can just tear it off. And just put it in the trash. Or if you want, you can open up the book and fold them down and then put glue and Mod Podge on the inside. That's going to take a little bit longer because you have to set it up and open up the top. Okay, let me see if I'll hold it up and move it closer to my camera. But if you see, it's starting to kind of look like patches of skin. So there we go. So I'm just going to keep covering until I see all of the edges are smoothed down. And if you are satisfied with it, you can take your blow dryer and start to blow dry it. Oh, dun, dun, dun. Let me clear space. You can do as many layers as you want. It's totally up to you. All right, so I'm gonna take my blow dryer and I'm gonna start blow drying it. And it's gonna be loud because I'm gonna turn it up on high.
So one of the girls asked Mr. Tasha, are you using hot or cold setting on the blow dryer?
I'm using the hottest setting that I have on my blow dryer. So that way it dries a lot faster, and then I'm feeling along the way to find the spots. Like, so there's a spot right here that I need to put over because it's a little damp. Because when you put the paint on, you want the paint to actually stay and not get all mushy because of the glue. All right, so I think, yep, she's good. So here's what we are going to do now. If you, oh, my eyeball flew away. If you want to put your snakes and your eyeball on, you can. You need to use hot glue. And this is where I recommend, and I ask that all girls have parents help with them with this, because hot glue, you can burn yourself and it is not fun. I burned myself a lot with my hot glue gun. And yeah, so you're going to want to do that. If you don't want to put on your snakes and eyeball, you don't have to. You can just watch us and then we'll move along to the painting in a little bit, okay? So I'm going to put my 2 snakes here, and then my eyeball is going to go right there. And then I'm going to see if I can twirl these snakes somehow, but let's see. Hopefully my, again. Yep, I'm calling just wanted to test. So, and if you get it all over your book, that's fine, because you still have to make the like the stitches on the book. Okay, and like I said, you really need to be careful when you use the hot glue gun. Reach over. So I'm using scissors to push down on the snake because I'm not trying to use my fingers. Like I said, I burn myself so many times doing it that way. So I've learned to use a pair of scissors that I don't mind getting full of glue, and I just push it down. So I'm gonna do the black one. And I'm gonna need some more glue. Oops. And then I turn it over. Don't stick. So let's do the eyeball. And then what I'm gonna do, instead of putting it on the edge, because like I said, I don't want to burn my finger, I'm just gonna make a circle on my book, and then I'm gonna place the eyeball there. And like I said, if you get glue on the outside, that's fine. It can look like it's part of the stitch. Just be very careful when you put the eyeball down. And if you need to put more glue, go ahead. You can put it around. All right. Okay. So let me see if I can somehow twist these.
So some of the girls are asking if they can go ahead and start painting.
Yes, if you're not gonna hot glue or put any of your creepy crawlies down, go ahead and start painting. What you do first is you put your dark brown paint down, and then you're gonna dry it again with the blow dryer, and then you'll put the light color on it. Okay. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna skip that part. I'm gonna do my stitches. So I'm gonna draw them like this, that way, and that way. And here, here, and here. Oh, it's not hard enough. Okay. All right, that's it. Okay, I'm gonna take my blow dryer again and make sure the hot glue is dry.
Miss Natasha, which color did you say you start with?
You're gonna start with your dark brown. That's your first coat. And if you get it on the snakes, that's fine. You can always paint your snakes over with your gray or silver. Or yeah. Okay, so now I'm gonna move on to my paint because I'm good. So, and if you have a really big brush, go ahead and take your biggest brush that you have or sponge and then start painting the book. And if you get it on your eye, that's fine. You can take a paper towel and wipe it off. It's okay. And if you have stitches like me, yes, you can cover it up. It's going to look like that. Because all you're going to do is take black paint or a black paint and cover it up. So that's the first layer. I won't be able to finish the whole book, but I shall show you guys the top part. I don't think you'll be able to finish your whole book either, so that's why I said it's always good to go back and watch the YouTube video again. And that way you can finish up tomorrow. All right, so I'm gonna take my blow dryer, dry it real quick. Now I'm gonna take my lighter color, and I have a light, it's like a tan, so it's more of a tan color. And what I'm gonna do is I'm taking one of my smaller brushes and I'm just kind of making the small strokes. And I don't want to cover it all the way completely, so you kind of see how like it's spread out really thin right there. That's what you're gonna do. It's supposed to look like skin. Okay, and then you get it to how you like it. You let that dry. And then for your snakes, you're gonna take the gray and you're gonna paint it. I'm gonna use the same brush. So just paint over your snakes, just like that. And if you get it on your book, that's okay. You can just take your brown and cover up the spot that you got gray. All right, so I'm going to actually finish this later. because I need to move on. Have my sisters fill in for the rest of the activities. So, like I said, girls, this is going to take longer than the 30 minutes. However you want to do it. If you want to cover the back and the front, that's up to you. If you want to make your stitches different colors, black, whatever, it's totally up to you. This book is yours to make however you want. So that is going to be the spell book, my book. Come to mama. I can't do it like her. She does it in a really high-pitched voice. She has got a beautiful singing voice, so I can't really, not a singer. So, all right. Okay, so now, girls, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next activity, and that is going to be with, where are we going? We're going
Someone asked if you could put a picture of your finished book on the Girl Scouts of Central California South Facebook page so they can see it when you're all done.
Yes, most definitely. I will post a picture. All right, so now we're going to go to my sister, Sarah, and she is going to do the bubbling slime.
Okay, so let's move on to our slime. You're going to need some kind of bowl. This is my cauldron. So take a half a cup of Elmer's washable glue, pour it in there. And then you're going to need 2 tablespoons of baking soda. All right, so take our baking soda, 2 tablespoons. I've got that in there. So combine that together and it's going to get thick. So stir it. Okay, so we can go ahead and add our food coloring. So on here it says Halloween slime, use green, but you can use purple or orange. I'm going to use green. So I like a very dark green, so I'm going to add 6 drops in there. And we're going to stir that. Pretty green. Okay, now for the next part, you are going to want to put it over a tray because it's going to erupt everywhere. It'll start bubbling. It's going to be the vinegar and saline mixture. So I'm actually going to move to the sink. So you're going to need 1 tablespoon of saline solution, so like the Context one, and then 1/4 cup of white vinegar. So saline solution. And your white vinegar. So the white vinegar was 1/4 cup. I don't like the smell. All right, so I'm going to put that stuff in this, and then I'm going to move to the sink. One tablespoon of the saline solution in here is a good one. All right. And let me take you guys with me to the sink. Oops. Got your green or purple mixture in there. And then we're going to take our vinegar saline mixture and pour it in here, and it should start to bubble and erupt everywhere. Oh, it's bubbling.
I actually hear it.
So it's getting frothy. It didn't explode everywhere like I was expecting, but it is frothy. It's really pretty. It didn't erupt like it said it would. It just got really frothy.
Right. That's why we said to put it over a tray, just in case.
If you have like a shallow thing you're putting it in, I would do it over a tray or over your sink.
So the first, because one of the girls was asking the first step. The first step was combining the glue and baking soda in your container.
Yes. And then you're going to do the 1/4 cup of white vinegar and 1 tablespoon of saline.
What is saline solution?
So it's kind of like the contacts thing. And then after that, so before reaching for the slime, you're going to add a few drops of the saline solution to your hands. Okay. Looks like I'll need my saline again. I'm gonna get it. I also brought back my creepy crawlies that I'm putting in here. So I got some little bats, some skulls of children, some more bats. Oh, it looks like no snakes. Mine looks like it needed more baking soda, which on here it said you can play around with the mixture on there. Because mine was like really watery. But I went and added some more baking soda right now, and it looks like it's forming more of a Play-Doh now. I'm gonna touch it.
Yes, you can touch it. After you put saline in your hands, now it smells gross.
Yeah. I touched it. Just kidding. Ew. I forgot what slime felt like. I haven't played with this in forever. So you got your slime. And then you want to store it in like an airtight container after you're done making it. And help your mom and dad clean the area that you use.
Mm-hmm.
And there you have your slime.
Did you put your crawlies in?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I had little, I couldn't find like little ones at the dollar store, so I ended up buying the rings and then just cutting off the backs.
Mm-hmm.
So I had little skulls, little bats, and spiders on one of them, but I thought they would be too big.
So what's cool about this one is that you can add different measurements to get different reactions. So if you can and your parents are okay with it, you can test it out tomorrow and find out what is going to get more of a reaction. So for the girls who didn't get any fizz or bubbling, you can always try it again. So
I got more of the fizz only. I didn't get any of the bubbling or oozing.
I think your cauldron is really big, so we probably have to put a lot.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Because when I looked at it, the recipe, I think the mom used like the mini one, the small one. So
I was looking for a mini cauldron, but I couldn't find one. So I used my old candy dishes. That candy was long gone after the second week that candies hit the shelf. Add more baking soda if it's watery. That was the issue with mine.
Have 2 more minutes to knead and play with your slime, and then you need to wash your hands because Sister Mary's going to show us our next activity. Oh, hi, everybody from YouTube. Thanks for coming and joining us. Sister Mary, are there any children in those cupcakes?
I'm hiding my children in my cupcakes. I cut out the centers and I stuff them full of children.
Awesome. I can't wait to have them.
I'm going to take off my cape and go to my laboratory. I'll see you in a few. I have to wash my hands. Can you find my phone, Miss Natasha?
I did. I spotlighted it right now.
This is my book that I did with a brownie and ganache, or not ganache, the fondant. Yeah, the fondant. And this was the brownie that I tried just with gel frosting, and it didn't look as good. It's much more messy. So these are some of the cupcakes that I made today. There's my cauldron with all of my eye of newt and my worms and everything. We just need to get a child to put in there to get our youthful spell going. And there's my ghosts. And here's my broomsticks that I can fly off with later. And here's the Winifred's boyfriend coming out of his grave to come join us. And there's the little devils. And here's the Sanderson sister cupcakes. And some little pumpkins. And one more I've got to show you over here is Binks the cat. So we're going to get started. I'm going to show you how to take a regular cake mix and add some flavorings to give it a little more of a kick. So girls, don't worry about trying to cook your cupcakes as fast as I'm going to show you tonight, because we're going to spend the majority of the time working on decorating our cupcakes. But I just wanted to show you how, like I said, you can take a cake mix, a box cake mix, and add extra things to make it taste even more yummy. So grab my vanilla. So we're starting out tonight with a devil's food cake mix. And there is a couple of different recipes you can find online for devil's food cake mixes, where you can make it a spicy devil's food cake mix. I'm just going to put my cake mix in my mixer. I've already got measured my half a cup of oil. I did the Martha Stewart thing. I got everything all prepared ahead of time. I've got my 1 cup of water. And I've got my 3 eggs that have already been cracked. So those are going to go. So that's what the directions say on the box of cake mix. But I'm going to add some extra flavors. I like to add vanilla to just about anything because it adds a little bit more of a complex flavor. So I'm adding about half a teaspoon of vanilla. But to make this a spicy devil's food cake mix, we're going to add chipotle chili peppers. We're going to add cayenne pepper, and we're going to add cinnamon. So if any of you have had the Mexican hot chocolate that has cinnamon flavor in it, it's kind of like that flavor. And we made a batch of these earlier today just to test this recipe. And it's really interesting because you don't taste the spice right away, but after you swallow the cupcake, about maybe 30 seconds later, all of a sudden your tongue just all of a sudden says, oh my goodness, that was spicy. Not too spicy, just a little spicy. So we're going to use 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. And then the peppers are really spicy, and my family doesn't like spice too much. So the cayenne pepper is hotter. I tasted these just individually, And my cayenne pepper is hotter than my chipotle pepper. So I'm only going to use 1/8 of a teaspoon of my cayenne pepper, just like that. Doesn't take very much. It's pretty potent. And then I'm going to use 1/4 of a teaspoon of my chipotle chili peppers. The chipotle almost has like a smoky flavor to it. So after you add those, you're just going to, now when you turn on your mixer, you want to make sure you don't just flip it on to high, because then your cake mix will go push all over the place. So you turn it on to low first, so it can start getting mixed. And then you slowly bring it up to about medium or medium high, and then you want to leave it on there for 2 minutes. And meanwhile, what you're going to do is, if you have cake pan liners, you can put your cake pan liners, cupcake liners in your cupcake pan. If you don't have cupcake liners and you don't want to use them, you would just spray it with some spray oil, or you can rub butter inside of it if you don't have the spray can of oil. So what I like to do, you'll see a lot of times what people will suggest is to use an ice cream scoop to measure out your batter for your cupcake liners, because it's about the right amount to fill them 2/3 full. If you fill your cupcake liners to the top, they're going to overflow over your whole cupcake. So you don't want to do that. One handy thing I found is this funny looking spoon that sometimes comes with your set of silverware. It's supposed to be used for your gravy, or sometimes you use it for soup. This makes a perfect scooper for your cupcakes. So that's not quite 2 minutes, but it's pretty good. I'm going to show you another way that you can put a surprise in your cupcakes. Let me point my camera down here. So what you can do to put another surprise in your cupcake is this time of year, you've got all these cute little candy bars and your little Hershey Kisses. And what you do is you take your cupcake, and you don't have to worry about positioning these right in the middle of the batter, because after you fill up your cupcakes, you put the candies on top, and as the cupcake bakes, it will sink into the center of your cupcake batter. So you see how this, using the scoop, I can get it right into there. You try not to drip onto the pan, because all those little drips of batter onto the pan, those pieces of cake cook faster, and then they start to burn, and then they start to smoke, and it affects the flavor of your cake. So try not to get any drips on the edge of the pan. But I always do, and so that's my excuse to use my finger and lick them up. But always ask your parent, your grown-up, if you can lick up raw cake batter, because it does have raw eggs in it, so you don't want to get a tummy ache. So after you get those all loaded, you should have your oven already heated up to 350 degrees. Like I said, I wipe up my drips with my fingers.
Sister Mary, one girl has asked what was your favorite cupcake or treat you've made that is inspired from Hocus Pocus.
Oh, goodness. I think I liked these ones here. My daughter, hand me a skeleton, Rennie. My daughter, Ren, made these today. We used the white chocolate to, can you see it? I can't see my camera. There it is. Okay, so we used the white chocolate to make these little skeleton hands. And then we put, we chopped up some more of these, of the candy bars from our Halloween candy, and used those as the dirt over top of chocolate frosting. So that's the zombie coming out of the graveyard.
That's my boyfriend, Billy.
Yes, your boyfriend, Billy, that's his name. Okay, so like I said, you could take these chocolates and put them right on top of this cupcake, and it will sink right to the middle as the cupcake cooks. So you don't have to worry about putting some down and then putting the the candy in and then putting more batter. It'll just cook all on its own. Here, Catherine, can you put this in the oven? Is the oven done? 19 minutes for cooking the cupcakes. So I was going to show you how you're going to load your frosting into your bowl. So instead of using the disposable frosting bags that can be a little bit pricey, I like to use just the Ziploc freezer bags in the gallon size. And some people put in the couplers and the little twisty thing and then put the tip on, and they can do it that way. And that works really well. But I like to make things quick and easy. And all I do is I cut a tiny little tip off the corner of my bag. It's only this big, really tiny. And what you can do is if you have some Scotch tape, if you put Scotch tape over that, you could take a scissors and you could cut some zigzags in it and you can make it look like it's a frosting tip without having to use a metal one. But I didn't have any Scotch tape, and just for quickness, I'm going to show you how I take my tips and I just poke them down and out the hole and push on it like that. And then the pressure from the frosting that I'm going to put in here will keep it in the end. Now what I did, you can see I took my bag and I turned it inside out. So it's like halfway inside out. So now when I take my frosting and I put this in my bag, now I'm not going to get it all over the top and have it all messy and come out the top and get all over myself. Because I can just put it right here in the Ziploc baggie. Sous chef, take my bowl, please. Thank you. And then all you do is you lift the edges, and when you bring it up, see the top of my plastic is nice and clean, and I don't have to worry about getting frosting all over myself. Sort of squeeze out as much air as I can when I'm trying to zip it closed. But then what I do is I do exactly what I would do as if this were a proper piping bag. I go ahead and gather it, and then I twist it. I twist it tight so that none of that frosting is going to come out the top. And then I just squeeze it out the end towards my frosting tip. So I'm going to show you how I made Binks. So Binks is made with a pink jelly bean, 2 green M&Ms, and we have these cute little markers that you can find in the cake aisle, and they're actually food coloring markers. So you take the black and you just draw little black stripes for the eyes. And then the ears are these cute little berries, these berry candies, these raspberry candies. And you just kind of squish them until they come to a point. And then I cut up pieces of licorice because I looked everywhere. I could not find shoestring licorice. So I used the regular Twizzlers and I just sliced them up small. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to take my Binks cupcake right here, and I'm going to put my frosting all over the top. And this one I really don't need a frosting tip for, which is why I didn't try to make it all fancy, because I'm going to squish it down with a knife anyway. So I'm spreading that all around. And now I'm going to get, well, I have my black jelly beans. So you could put little black jelly beans down here for the paws. Ren, can you grab a pink jelly bean from over on the counter? I forgot to leave a pink jelly bean out. Or actually just get me an M&M. A red M&M would be fine. Put in all my 3 little jelly beans for each paw. And then a cute little red nose. Then I'm going to take, like I said, my raspberries, and I'm going to squish the top of them so it almost looks more like a triangle. Some of the little beads come off. That's okay. You could just sprinkle it on the frosting. because we're going to sprinkle black sugar on top of the frosting to really make it look black. So there's one ear. And then I'm going to take this one, make it look nice and triangular, put it for the other ear. And then I've got my two little M&Ms that have the black stripes on them. And now I'm going to put on my whiskers. And these whiskers are a little bit long, so I'm going to break them in half. So my whiskers are sticking up out of the cupcake because when I had a cat, my cat's whiskers were not always flat to his face. They sometimes would poke out. So I like to have my whiskers poking out a little bit, standing up. That one is way too fat to be a whisker. There we go. Now, it looks pretty cute, but it doesn't look like Binks. So the magic to getting this work is the black sugar. So I've got a bowl here to catch all my sugar so it doesn't go all over my counter. And I'm going to take my black sugar and I'm going to sprinkle it all over my Binks. So now my Binks cat looks like a Binks. I dropped a toe, but I'll stick it back on there. But you can see he looks a lot more like a black cat now that I put the black sugar on top of the chocolate frosting. So that's how you make the Binks cat. Then another one, I already told you how to make the graveyard. The way we make the graveyard, I've got these cute little, I've got these little hot pot melters that melt my, my chocolate. And then once I've got it chocolate melted, I put it in these little bags too, and I snip off the end so I can pipe out my chocolate. So that's how I made my little devil horns. We're gonna make those cupcakes tonight. That's how I made my hair for Mary and my hair for Winifred and my hair for Sarah. So we're gonna do the Sanderson sisters cupcakes next. So for the Sanderson sisters, I have a cupcake with a blue paper, a cupcake with a black paper, and then a strawberry cupcake with the white paper, because the Sanderson sisters are three completely unique individuals. And we're going to make these cupcakes even more special because we're going to take some jelly. This is some organic strawberry preserves that I picked up. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your knife very carefully with a grown-up, and you're going to cut about a quarter size hole in your cupcake, and you're going to pop out that piece of cake like it's a cork. Okay? Then you're going to take that piece of cake and you're going to cut off just a tiny bit of the top. You don't have to do it on your hands. You could do it on a cutting board. I'm just doing this so you can see in the picture. And then what you're going to do is take that strawberry and stick it right down inside that cupcake. So you have some yummy strawberry, and then you put the rest of that cupcake right back on top. So you have a surprise once you get through that frosting. And I'm going to do that again with the black dress. And I'm going to pop off the middle of this chocolate one. And I like lemon, the lemon flavor with chocolate. So I've got some lemon curd right here. It's a type of jelly that they have like when you do tea parties, like when the English people do tea parties. Speaking of tea parties, make sure you join us in December for our frozen tea party. But you can just put some of your lemon curd right down here in the middle. And then you can just tear off the cake. You don't have to use a knife. And then just put the top right there. And the good thing is you can either eat these as a snack, or you can save these into a bowl if you're doing like a whole pan of cupcakes, and then mix some of your frosting in with these cake crumbs, and you can make cake pops. So I'm going to take my white piping bag here. So I'm going to go around this one. And I'm just kind of make it in circles all the way from the edge, all the way into the middle. And then after I have it all to the middle, I'm going to take Mary's hair. And this is just chocolate that I have dyed purple with my cake decorating dyes. You can try to find purple candy melts, or you can try to dye your own chocolate. But never try to dye your own chocolate with these liquid kind of colors, because liquid will make your chocolate seize up. You need to use the gel kind of cake decorating dyes so that you can color your chocolate. So that's how you make Mary. Oh, my chocolate broke. It's okay if your chocolate breaks, just stick it on there sideways. It'll still be okay. And then I'm gonna do strawberry for Sarah. You would think that I would put strawberry for Winifred, but I've got a blue dress for her. She's pretty showy there. So I have my strawberry for Sarah. And then for my Winifred hair, I'm just going to take them and push them right down like that. So to make these shapes for the hair, you just, oh, there I did it again. So sometimes this M shape you have for the Sarah, when you push on it, it can break. But what I do is I just put it back in there and just kind of lean it against each other. It sticks pretty well. But you just take some parchment paper and you can draw on that parchment paper with the pencil the design that you want to make your chocolate into, or you can just eyeball it and wing it, whichever you like to do. The thing is that the best thing about this art form is if you make a mistake, you can just eat it. That's the best part. My kids love my mistakes because then they get to eat it. My kids have been asking all day long, when do we get to eat the cupcakes? I said, after class. Before I go on to the double cupcake, I want to show you these cute little kitty cats I made to put on my cupcake toppers. And I found these in the Vallarta grocery store. They're these little miniature wafers, and they came in bunches of different colors, and I pulled out just the yellows. And what I did is I took the food coloring marker and I just drew on this wafer a little tail for my kitty cat, and then the feet, and then the other feet. And when I came up here, then you have to make the circle for the head with 2 ears, and then you make the really high arched back, because the kitty cat's standing in front of the full moon with an arch back. And now you have your cake topper. And I could take any cupcake I want to. I'm going to take the chocolate frosting. I'm going to put some frosting all over my cupcake. Now with this star tip, there's a couple of ways you can decorate it. You can just make it in a circle and it almost starts looking like a rose. Or you could take your star tip and you could go poke and squeeze and lift. 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 And you'll see then it starts looking like you have stars where you've done that. And that's what we're going to do when we make our devil cupcake. We're going to do the whole thing in these stars. So what you can do is you could just take your kitty cat, stick him in the top of your cupcake, and now you've got a cat in front of the full moon. So, all right, so the last cupcake we've got going is our little devil cupcake. And for our devil cupcake, I'm going to go ahead and use our spicy devil's food cake for our devil cupcake. And one thing I noticed is sometimes if you're trying to push these little red horns I made with the chocolate through the cupcake and through the frosting, it doesn't work so well because I use just this regular can frosting. The other frosting I got out of the mixing bowls was a type of whipped frosting that's almost like whipped cream. It's not as sweet. It's not a buttercream frosting. It's like a whipped frosting. But this is just the regular can that you can get next to your cake mixes. So I kind of put a hole in my cupcake where I want these two little horns to go. And once I have them in there, and they're in there securely, now I'm going to take my frosting that was in that jar. Now I did put this in the refrigerator, and this jarred frosting doesn't always have to go in the refrigerator. Okay, so you don't want to do this trick if you're making these cupcakes for other people. But if these cupcakes are for yourself, I'm going to show you a trick. If this cupcake, if you put your frosting in the freezer and it gets all frozen and stuck and it won't come out, again, don't do this for other people. But for yourself, you can put it in your mouth and then suck it out, and it sucks out the kind of plug. And now it will come out really good. But nobody wants your germs, so don't do that for other people. So now you just go like this. Remember how I said you push and squeeze? Let me try to move the camera a little closer so you can actually see what I'm doing. Okay. So I'm going to push and squeeze and lift. Squeeze and lift. Squeeze and lift. Squeeze and lift. Okay, and my oven is beeping because my cupcakes are done. Let me go check on them in just a second. They'll be okay if they cook a little bit more. I just want to finish off this cupcake and show you. It looks pretty good like this, but just like that black sugar made the kitty cat look so much better. So now I've got this red sprinkles, and I'm going to take these red sprinkles and sprinkle that over the frosting. It just makes them look a little bit sparklier and pretty. So I also have, you can use your imagination. We've got these cauldrons that I started to make that we used I used like the sour gummy worms and some eyeballs and some nonpareils, and then I used licorice for the handle. One I tried to make upside down, like I took it out of the paper and I put M&Ms on the bottom as the feet, but it was pretty messy and it's hard to move because then your fingers get all messy. So this is one I just made that was in the paper. And of course the ghosts, you just pile up your frosting and you add these dots. But one thing I've noticed, we made these earlier this afternoon, and after a few hours, these dots start to melt in this kind of fluffy frosting. And then we've got the broomsticks, which is just a mini cupcake, and you stick a pretzel in it. And I put a piece of Starburst candy around the stem in there. You can't kind of see it because my kids covered it in frosting, but you can just do it like that. These are some other cupcakes that I made too, that I put the cake mix inside of ice cream cones. And I couldn't get any black frosting that I liked. All my frosting today turned out more gray. I didn't have the cocoa powder that I thought I had. Cocoa powder helps to turn a dark chocolate like this into a really, really, really dark, and then you can use your black frosting to make it totally black. But what I thought would be fun is to take some like the red, yellow, and orange Starburst candies and make it look like flames, and then put frosting around the top of this is like the cauldron, and then put all the worms and stuff just like the top of this cauldron into here, so it looked like a cauldron over top of flames. So you can use M&Ms, you can use mini M&Ms, Starburst, any kind of candies that you want. You can use Kisses, and just use your imagination and have fun with it. You can make little monsters, any kind of cupcakes you want. So how are we going on time, Miss Natasha?
You have 10 minutes.
Okay. Do we have any questions?
They're just saying that your cupcakes are creative, and I have to agree.
Why, thank you. Well, if we've got 10 minutes, let's try another cupcake. Let's see, which one didn't I do yet? I know what I can do. I can get the paper and show you how I do the melted chocolate into the skeleton hands, or to any of the other shapes that I made tonight. This is parchment paper, and it has naturally, I don't know if you can see it in the light, but kind of like little grid lines. But you can take a pencil or a marker and draw shapes on the back side of it with like a really dark marker. And then when you put it right side up, you can see through the back side on what your template is and how you want to pipe your chocolate. So I'm going to put my parchment paper out just like that. I'm going to have my cupcakes hold my parchment paper for me. Then I'm going to get my chocolate into a tiny quart-sized freezer bag. And like I said, these little, they're almost like little crock pots made for melting chocolates and candy melts. And what's great is it keeps it at the perfect temperature for what's called tempered chocolate, which is when your chocolate is nice and stirrable, just like that. And it gets really pretty and shiny. And you don't have to worry about your chocolate getting too hot and burning and seizing up, because it is the little crock pot that comes with it keeps it at exactly the right temperature for chocolate. So again, just like with my frosting, I turn my bag inside out, and then I just scoop the chocolate into the bag. And I won't show you the whole process for coloring the chocolate because that takes a long time. But what I will show you the types of colors that you use are these kind of Wilton cake colors that comes in these little containers, and they're like sort of a gel or a paste. And those are the kinds you use to color your chocolates. So I'm just going to close up my Ziploc baggie. And if I had put some color in there, then I would just sit here and squish it and move it all around until all the color gets dispersed. But we're making a skeleton hand, so we don't need to do that. And I get my sharp knife here, and I'm just going to cut off the teeniest, tiniest tip that I possibly can, because I want that chocolate to come out in just a tiny little stream. So almost like the point of a pencil tip is how big you're going to cut off the corner of your plastic. And then you just kind of squish it down into that corner. Once you've got it squished into that corner, then you twist it up. You can see it's really melty, so it's already coming out. Put my camera down here so you can really see how I'm doing the hands. So the way I made my hands is I like made a circle for the hand, and then I made another circle for the wrist, because this is kind of the part that goes down in the cupcake. And then I just made some squiggles through the palm of the hand. And then I came out to the side for the thumb, and then just went 1, 2, 3, 4 for the hand. That's kind of a pretty big one. I didn't make the others that big. So you just make one circle, 2 circles, kind of fill in the circle so it has some structure to it. Make yourself a thumb. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you want these lines to be, you know, you don't want them to be too skinny or your fingers will break off when you go to stick them into the cupcakes. But that's how I made the hands. And then if I had the red chocolate, the way I made the little horns, I just started in the corner and you just come over here and you just kind of make that kind of funny sideways tipping triangle. Or almost like a half moon. Like if you look at those two things together, they almost look like a half moon with a space in the middle. And then the way I made the Sanderson sisters' hair, I just kind of went squiggly for Mary like this. And then I went squiggly up here and then just kind of squiggled it off to the side. But you've got to crisscross over because you need that chocolate to have structure. If it doesn't have structure, it'll fall apart. So that's kind of how I did Mary. For Sarah, I just kind of did like a big M with like coming out on the sides. And then for Winnie, what I did, let me try to move this around. Well, there's a lot of space up here. I'll use the space up here. For Winnie, what I did is I just kind of made it straight and I gave her that big widow's peak and I gave it an M. And then I came up here and then I made the big circles. So that's kind of how I made Winnie's. So if you can imagine those as the 3 different colors, the colors really do a lot to make it look like what they're supposed to be. And this chocolate was a lot warmer. So you can see some of my definition has melted into each other because it was really, really warm. It's been sitting there all afternoon. So it's a little too warm. You know what? Actually, what I could do is I could put some sprinkles on it. Let me try this because the chocolate is really cold, warm still. So Sarah's got yellow hair. So I'm going to put yellow sprinkles on her hair. I could kind of squish them in like that. And then Winnie's got orange hair, so I could put orange sprinkles on hers. And, you know, this is where your imagination works. If you don't have food coloring, maybe you have sprinkles you can put on top of your chocolate. And then I know I've got some purple sprinkles here someplace. Yes, I do. I'm going to put purple sprinkles for Mary's hair. There. Now I've colored my chocolate hair for this batch. Okay. Any questions about working with melted chocolate? Other than that, it's messy.
I don't see any, and we are exactly at 7:29. So
Great.
we're going to switch over back to Sarah.
Well, thank you, children, and make sure you come to our house and jump in our cauldron later.
I need to finish the spell book first so I can get the spell.
Yes, sister, please do. We only have till midnight.
All right, hello. So we're going to be making the black flamed candle. And it totally disappeared in my background. Let me remove it again. All right. So first things first, you're going to take your paper towel roll. You're going to need a hot glue gun on this one. So have that and reduce. And you're going, I didn't have this one painted when I did it, but on the one I'm going to be using, I did paint it white beforehand. So you're going to actually take one of the sides over here and just have the glue coming down the edge. Okay. You're also going to use a tea light for this. So you're going to go ahead and paint the flame part black, leave the rest white. And then while that's drying, you're going to, okay. To double check on my instructions. Okay, so after the glue part is dry, you're going to paint the hot glue part white as well, like I did on this one over here. So I painted those white. So make sure that's dry because you saw how it got stuck to my fingers and it was pretty hot. So after that's dry as well, you're going to put your tea light in there. So make sure everything is dry. And before putting the tea light in there, you're going to see if it fits. So I have a lot of, oh, sorry, gaps in between.
Bless you.
Thank you. So it says you can use paper to have kind of a support to it. And there you have it, your black flame candle. It's really simple. It's just about drying it. So after this one dries, I can go ahead and paint it white, the glue parts as well, and do the same thing I did with this. And you can use a black Sharpie and draw any symbols you want on the actual part too. And that's how you do the flame candle. Anybody have any questions? It's really simple. It's just squeezing the glue on the sides. You have to make sure everything dries in between. That way you can paint it and everything.
So one of the girls asked, when did you put the white on it? She didn't see when you put the white on it.
So I painted it beforehand. I
Or,
had mentioned that I painted the tube white before, so
or
it could be dry.
Or if you have a white paper towel.
Mine were brown before. So.
Yeah. If you got a paper towel roll that's white, you don't have to paint it. And if you still have your blow dryer near you, you can definitely use that to help dry it faster so you can get this activity done.
So yes, you're gonna paint the entire tube white. So Madeline, It starts off with just having painting the actual tube white if it's not white already. Then you squeeze the glue on here on the edge. And after that dries, you paint the glue part white as well, like on this one. And then you paint the tea light glue part black. And you leave the rest white. And to have it fit in here because it's bigger than the actual thing, you use scratch paper as a support system in there. So for the tea light to stay in there, you put scratch paper in there to have it support it. It's just plain white paper. Stuffing it in here. There you go. So after my glue dries, I can paint that white too. Any other questions on it? I see some girls painting their tubes white. Good. If you want it to be black, you can have it black. That's up to you.
All
So
right.
I think I can paint.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to share something with you. You still keep working on your candle, your black flame candle, but I'm going to share a treat with you girls. So I'm going to share. And my sisters, can you tell me that you actually see the screen?
Yes.
Do they want to watch another one? I can't see in the chat box.
I want to watch another one.
Because I think I have like 4 or 5. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, girls. So now you've got about 2 more minutes. Oh, look, see? Sister Sarah finished the black flame candle. So somebody must have lit it already because we're back, right? We are back.
So I was going to say, Miss Natasha, since YouTube has such a long delay, it makes it harder for those girls to play what we're doing next. I have a separate challenge for them so that they can play a challenge level while we're all playing the regular level.
All right. That'll work. All right. Thanks. Do you want to spotlight Mary so we can get ready for Kahoot?
Hello, ladies. Okay, so what we are going to do is get your, sorry, my puppy's getting into the cupcakes. My husband was calling her. So you want to open up another window on your computer or get out your phone and pull up your Kahoot app. If you don't have a Kahoot app, it's in your app store. Hopefully you've already downloaded it and you're ready to go. So get your Kahoots ready, and I'm going to show you our the code. Let me make sure I'm optimizing this. Okay. So this is the challenge for those of the girls that are going to be on YouTube. It's 083702222. Now, you girls, you don't need to go on to that yet. We're going to play a different one for all of us here on the Zoom meeting. But because YouTube has a delay, this one they get to work at your own pace, and it's not a competition directly. And you don't have to worry if you've got, maybe if you are on the Zoom call and your internet's kind of laggy and sort of slow and you want to do the challenge instead, that's okay too. We're going to check the challenge leaderboard after we're done with our game too. So that code is 038702222. And I'll put that in our chat box also for those of you here that might want to do that. Where's the chat box? There it is. Okay, so for our game that we're going to play together, we're going to work on that here. We're going to go to our Hocus Pocus game. And we're going to play, and we're going to play it all together. And we're going to go classic mode. There's our game pin. So the number is 6032471.
Hey, cut the music, cut the music. I'm in the middle of a song. It's an emergency, only for a minute.
Okay. So I'm going to put this number in our chat box too, so you can get that.
300 years ago, the Sanderson sisters bewitched people. Now they've returned from their grave. Hey man, I'm serious. It's not a joke. This is not far enough. I know this sounds dumb, but they're here tonight. They're right over there.
For some reason, I'm trying to put that 603 and it won't go in the chat box. 6032471. Oh boy, we've got a lot of girls joining us. There we go. Okay, so we've got about 80 girls here on our meeting tonight. So I'm going to give you about 2 to 3 more minutes. If we can get up to around 50 people onto the game. Oh, you're getting on there quickly. This is one of my favorite parts of the movie, when they sing the song. Okay, we've still stuck at 46 players. Oh, there's 47. Can we get up to 50 players? Oh, there we go. Some more girls are getting in the last minute. Okay. So Peyton wants to know how you join. What you need to do is open up a tab and put in there kahoot.it on a new window, and then you click the join button and you put in the number 6032471. Okay. We've already got 60 girls into the room. So just because we've got to get this done in time, we're going to go ahead and start the game. So if you didn't get into the game, don't feel bad. You can go in and get into the challenge. So, number 1. What are the sisters' last names? Red for Sanderson, yellow for Jones, blue for Winnie, and green for Dylan. Red for Sanderson, yellow for Jones, blue for Winnie, green for Dylan. And it's Sanderson. Awesome. Nimble Campbell is in the lead. Which sister wears a dress with red lace sleeves? Red Nun, blue Winnie, yellow Mary, green Sarah. Who has the red lace sleeves? It's in the picture. Red is Nun, yellow is Mary, blue is Winnie, green is Sarah. 3, 2, 1, get your answer in quick. And it's Sarah, of course. So let's see. Oh, Friendly Mouse has taken the lead. And which sister is this? Is this red Kathy, yellow Mary, blue Sarah, or green Winnie? This is the sister with the funny hairdo. The one that I'm dressed up as tonight, who coincidentally has the same name as me, Mary. That's correct. All right, and Flying Hawk is in the lead. Which sister is this? That has a very big sister look on her face, doesn't she? Do any of you have big sisters that put that look on their faces? I've seen my big sister look at me like that before. Oh, I'm sorry. Red is Mary, yellow is Winnie, blue is Sarah, and green is Nun. Of course, it's Winnie. And Flying Hawk has kept the lead. In the movie, one of the sisters say, Satan has married. Who did Satan marry? Red, I have no idea. Yellow, she married Ursula. Blue, she married Medusa. Or green, she married Athena. Remember, the wife had curlers in her hair? Which do you think that would be? Of course it was Medusa. She thought the curlers looked like snakes. And Silver Bunny has taken the lead. The life potion calls for a dead man's toe in red, tongue in yellow, nose in blue, or ear in green. The potion calls for a dead man's what? Toe yellow, toe red, tongue yellow, blue nose, or green ear. It is the dead man's toe, of course. And the Dazzled Penguin has taken the lead. Who says, "'Tis firm as stone. 'Tis a black river, perhaps it's not too deep." And who is it that jumps on the black river and says, "'Tis firm as stone"? Is it Red Winnie, Yellow Mary, Blue Nun, or Green Sarah? 3, 2, 1, and of course it's Sarah. Let's see. Oh, the Silver Bunny has come